go live, and we are live. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back. Another great day in the Salt Lake Valley.
I don't know if it could be any better.
No, it was perfect, man, Joe.
It was so beautiful out there today.
Oh, man. Couldn't have been better.
Welcome back to another Sunday evening podcast session of the Two Joes podcast with Mojo on my right and a special guest on my left, and I'll let Mojo introduce him in a minute. But first of all, another great weekend. I hope you had a good week. My week was pretty stellar.
Yeah.
Work went well. I made progress on my app, so that's always a good thing, you know.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
Gets you in a good mood. It's amazing how just a good day at work just makes your mood that much better and brighter.
It does, yeah. Brightens everything.
And then a jam session as epic as the one we had last night also.
Man, that was epic. And there were only, 6 of us there?
Mm-hmm.
That was some of the best music we've ever played.
It sounded really good to me. I tell you, it was fun as heck.
You know, and Conga Joe makes such a difference. You know,
it's his enthusiasm and everything.
Yeah,
is just off the charts, and it's just fun to have him around. You know?
When we did Mary Jane's Last Dance by Tom Petty, and then there's that little break where you hit that G chord and you let it hang for a minute. His accompaniment, his fill right there, it was just stellar. Oh man, off the charts.
It was right on, man, right on. That was fun.
Wonderful stuff, yeah. And you mentioned our guest here. He's also musical, but we'll get into that after a bit. So where do you start with someone like this? We've only met. This is the third time we've ever hung out together, and. Well, like we've mentioned before, music can bring people together, right? We know that. It's why you and I are friends, really, now.
Yeah.
And so there's something else that can bring people together, and that is the game of golf. And so, Conga Joe and I are in this men's league at a local golf course, and it was about a month and a half ago, I think, when we just happened by coincidence to be paired up with our guest. And he proceeded to beat the hell out of Conga Joe and me on the golf course. And not only that, to make it even worse, Conga Joe and I were teeing off from the white tees. Our guest was teeing off from the blue tees, which on some holes is like 30 or 40 yards back there.
Significantly.
He was bombing it way past ours. He was on the green on every hole, and it was just stunning to watch. It was so cool. And then we happened to get paired up again this last Thursday, and I thought, this guy has some interesting stories to tell. So, Manjo, will you help me in welcoming our friend Valerio? Valerio, welcome to the Two Joes podcast.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much for inviting me to this podcast. I go for Val.
Val from here on.
Yeah.
And your last name again? I've already...
Calisaya.
Calisaya, yes. And you mentioned just before the cast here that you originate from Bolivia.
Right, right.
How long have you been in America and Utah?
Well, it's around 19 years, 20 years, around that.
Now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I came in 2000, January 2000. Mm-hmm. Yeah, a year later, I lost my hand in a car accident.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to ask about, a car accident. I don't mean to dwell on this so much, but I've heard such advancements in medical technology that if your hand gets severed, they can reattach it and be fine. But I guess in your case, was it just demolished and there was nothing they could do to help you out with that?
Well, the sheriff, when he found my fingers, he thought it was going to be reattached too. But when I realized, I didn't see it when I was in the accident throughout my trip to a city in Wyoming where they brought me. This happened in Cokeville. Yeah. And then in Salt Lake, they brought me to Salt Lake. Something funny happened on the way coming to Salt Lake. A helicopter ran out of gas, and I told them that there was no.
You were on this helicopter when it ran out of gas. It gets better and better, man, Joe.
Wow.
And I told them that there was no emergency, no hurry. They can take a hamburger. I was not going anywhere.
You were in shock.
Yeah, I was in shock. But
holy smokes.
It was funny for me,
Wow.
It's something that I always gonna remember.
Yeah.
And but Yeah, I got to the hospital around 11:30. My wife was there ready with my new born son, Kevin. Yeah, he had 3 days. I wasn't supposed to go to work. She wanted me to be home, but my boss needed a right hand that day, and I went with the intents of being at the farm. Back then, I was working a farm, Solinger's Tree Farm. But plans changed. I had to take the crew to Cokeville, and that's where it happens. Yeah.
So you were in a car crash and a helicopter crash in the same day. Is that what I guess? No, I'm kidding.
It was a car crash and emergency land from helicopter on my way to the hospital.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, listeners, let me describe this a little more fully. I started off mentioning how he beat Conga Joe and I down on the golf course, but I hadn't yet mentioned that the man doesn't have a left hand. And so to do these miraculous drives and these approaches to the green, he has an apparatus that he attaches to his left,
Right hand. Yeah. Yeah, I have this little hook that I developed. I started in 2014. My son, Christian, he invited me to the golf course. And, luckily I beat him the first day.
First time using this apparatus?
No, without I was just golfing one hand at the time.
Just your right hand? Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
and it was hard. What it helped me a lot, it was because in the past I played baseball. And that motion, that movement, all that things, it really helped me to try to hit that golf ball, you know, and then I got addicted to it.
So you hadn't golfed ever before before the accident?
No.
Okay. But, well, yeah, I must admit I'm a little sad there because I was hoping you were a teenage prodigy golfer and then you tragically lost your hand in a car accident, had to work your way back because you love the game so much. But now this is an after-school special, I suppose.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
No, I haven't had nothing of golf before.
But it makes you wonder, what if, you know?
Yeah. Well, I believe that if we have that passion to do something, we overcome anything.
I agree with that.
And we can get better at the things. And on my background of education, I really like the continuous improvement too. And that it really drives me to continually get better on the swing, how to position, where to put the ball, and in practice. You know, and I kind of like I thought myself, I never thought that two-hand coach would help me because he holds with the two hands and doesn't understand from my perspective.
Yeah.
I can see differently. And I was trying to develop different movements.
Yeah.
And I passed through a lot of
Trial and error?
yeah.
Yeah.
I'll bet. And so how many different, you say this attachment you developed yourself?
Yeah.
And how many different prototypes did you go through before you landed on this one?
Well, this is my third one. Yeah. The first one was just with screws and a tubing and a little rod. Then I went another one, better aluminum tubing and a rod too. Then I realized that it was wearing my handles, my hand. Yeah. And then I welded. Yeah, at work, one of my coworkers welds pretty good, and he welded a pair of them. And with that, now I need to re-accommodate the way I positioned that hook. Yeah.
But a hook, I don't think illuminates it quite. If I may use another term, it's more like a sheath that you put this apparatus on, and then you slide the shaft of your golf club into the sheath until it fits firmly. Yeah, it's more Main Joe. It's kind of like the mic stand I have here.
The mic stand, yeah, right.
You slide the mic into the sheath, and it holds it there in place. And
right.
And I noticed you don't use that with your putter. With your putter, you just kind of rest it up against the shaft of the putter. You don't actually put the putter in the sheath.
No.
Yeah.
It's because I just need something to hold it towards or press it, stabilize it.
Yeah.
And then there's this 2 slides on where I fit it, like the mic holder. Mm-hmm. It has a little opening, mm-hmm. and that opening I twist it to kind of like hold the round part of the putter, mm-hmm. and then I just press towards that, and then I start just swing.
Yeah.
Try to make that smooth movement with the shoulders mm-hmm. uniformly, mm-hmm. and try to make that straight line.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So do you ever work with other people that have the similar handicap, if you want to call it that? Because I imagine you could be pretty influential, showing them, hey, look what I can do. Do you want to do this too? I can probably help you or train you, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. I tried the kid that works place at Mick Riley's. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and what he does is he presses his left wound towards the handle, and then hits it. Mm-hmm. But he hits pretty good, mm-hmm. but it's not long enough.
It's not as stable either, I would think.
Yeah. Well, we can make it stable, mm-hmm. but straight, but the length is shorter. Mm-hmm. With one hand, I was been able to go 150 yards. Yeah, and he does the same thing. And the second stroke, it's the same, struggling to get to the green. And then in 3 strokes, you get to the green. The purpose is to get in a par 4 to get in 2 strokes. Mm-hmm. And then try to make it 1 putt possible. Mm-hmm. But you have the option of 2 putts to make the par. Mm-hmm. But ideally, it's to make it 3. That's in your mentally you're trying to go and do that. Mm-hmm. And but when you're shorter in every time, then you go in 3, and then you have 2 putts, in your mind. That's the ideal thought. But sometimes we go 3, and that makes it away from the par.
Sure. So the car accident that claimed your hand was in 2001?
Yeah.
Did you say? And you've been golfing since when?
2014.
So it's 5 years now. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
And you never golfed in Bolivia then?
No. Bolivia, it's this sport, it's very expensive. Even here.
It's pretty pricey here.
It's pricey here too. But
yeah. Absolutely. And even if I was there nowadays, I wouldn't be able to afford to play golf down there. But here, I found myself to work with the county, just a couple hours every 2 days a weekend, doing mowing the lawns, and that pays my card, my
green fees,
range ball,
balls,
all that, and I can play every day.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you play in our men's league for free too?
No, I pay the fees, the $6 fees. Yeah.
$6.
Yeah, $6 the fee.
I pay $28 every week.
He gets a discount.
Yes,
No,
that's your green fees plus the
league fee.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. So a good friend of mine does that also. He owns a landscaping business, G.I. Joe, and he got a job with the county, and he showed me his little county ID card and everything, and he says it's maybe 2 hours a week that he goes and does some weed whacking and mowing and things like that, and then he plays any of the county courses for free anytime he wants to.
Wow.
That's equitable. That's a good trade.
That's a good deal, man.
I would take that.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Well, yeah, here in this country, there's a lot of help, a lot of possibilities. You just need to knock the doors.
Opportunities.
Opportunities
you're absolutely
to develop your skills. I wish I would have had that opportunity when I was young. and probably with two hands, probably I would have done it
Could
differently.
have dominated.
Much better.
Yeah. Could have been interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
As it is, though, that's pretty neat that you're, helping out. You're giving back. You've worked with at least one person that has a similar injury and helping his golf game out. That's pretty cool.
Right.
I mean, it's it's. I sometimes I feel like handicapped people don't realize how much they can do. They sell themselves a little short.
Sometimes, yeah.
Because you don't see them out on the golf course much. I mean, I imagine there's a lot out there that could be golfing. I don't know.
Val's the first one I met. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's and you're right. There are many of them could
Okay,
be
like
out there.
for example, skiing. I see almost every time I go skiing, I see handicapped people out there skiing. Almost every single
missing
time.
a leg or something.
Yeah, they're in different types of apparatus to help them get down the slope, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's very cool to see.
One of the most amazing examples I've seen of this is, he turned out to be a total scoundrel and jerk, but Oscar Pistorius. Do you remember this name?
No.
He was a South African sprinter, and he was born without legs below the knee. It was just a condition. And he had some apparatus fit, and he competed in the Olympics. Not the Special Olympics, the Olympics.
They let him in.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because he could run the times. He could make the dashes. And
They didn't feel like his artificial limbs gave him an extra advantage. or
there
anything.
were,
I
I'm
bet
sure
you there was
were
some. I'll
controversy.
bet,
I'm
yeah.
sure there were controversies about that. But watching this guy take off from the starting line and just demolish everybody was stunning to see.
Wow.
Now, on the sad note, it sounds like you guys don't know Oscar Pistorius and his story.
No.
I hear about him a little bit. Yeah, there was a lot of the legs or the I think it was microfiber
Blades,
yeah,
blades
yeah.
on it, yeah.
and nowadays they use it differently, with boots. Yes, you can strap it and you have those blades, and it gives you more power. And I think that was the discrepancies that they had it, and they disqualified him at that time.
Yeah.
I think I don't remember well. I don't recall that. I heard a little bit about.
I never studied that much on his athletic life very much because his life took a tragic turn, absolutely terrible turn, and this happened on Valentine's Day. I want to say in 2014. He was dating a young lady named Riva Steenkamp, one of the most stunningly beautiful women ever born, and on Valentine's Day that year, he got very upset with her and shot her to death while she was hiding in the bathroom. Whipped out his handgun and shot some hollow points through the door and killed her. And went to trial, was convicted, and I believe is in jail today. Just a sad end to really a magnificent story of similar to overcoming, to retraining yourself and becoming a world-class athlete. Now, Val, I'm not saying you're a world-class golfer, but compared to Conga Joe and me, you are world-class, man.
Well, I'm pointing that way, and I'm always continually thinking about going a little bit further.
Yeah,
a little bit
interesting.
farther.
I mean, golfers start late sometimes, right? I mean, in the pro tour and stuff. It's not like you have to start when you're 10 or 9 or 8.
Yeah. That's I didn't learn guitar until I was 40.
Yeah.
And look how brilliant I play today.
So, have you ever played tournaments? Are you trying to work your way up the ranks, getting more experience and stuff like that?
Right. That's my goal.
Is it? Oh, that's so
year,
awesome.
Next year also, I'm going to be on the leagues, and then eventually I'm going to start trying to get into the
different tournaments and things.
Salt Lake Open,
interesting
things like that.
Yeah, very cool.
And we have the handicaps. We have tournaments worldwide, even.
Sure.
And I've been trying to compete in New York. That just happened a few weeks ago, I think. Yeah, but I haven't been able to because of academy situations. They didn't have the
Cash.
to go around. I would like to
get some sponsors.
Yay,
sponsors. Mm-hmm. This is a golden opportunity for you. This guy can golf. He's got a smile that it's going to be so marketable, man.
Oh, yeah.
And then he'll.
Indeed.
I imagine he'll be a great addition to your team.
Tell you what,
sign him up.
The Two Joes podcast will sponsor you, man. I've got $8 on me. How much you got?
I don't think we're going to be enough. So if you'd like to get in touch with Val, email us at thetwojoespodcast@gmail.com, and we'll get you in touch.
Very cool. Very cool.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to pursue your career with interest. Very much so.
We'll be rooting for you.
Yeah. Everything's possible.
Exactly.
Yeah. Everything's possible.
Yeah.
Like I said at the beginning, kind of like passion drives you.
Yeah,
and it can take you places that you haven't been.
Yeah,
you know?
Sure.
And then you realize, you see the back end of that, how you came to that point. It is amazing. It's something that you don't regret.
Yeah.
I still dance. I like to dance. My wife likes to dance.
Nice. Yeah.
We like merengue.
How long have you been married, Val?
3 years. We're going through 3 years.
3 years now.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can see in people that look, he is missing a hand. And sometimes we, as a person with one hand, we tend to hide.
Mm-hmm.
And we tend to be away from and find our comfort zone at home and not being social, and being away from that, from the social.
Feel awkward. And
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't. I feel they're looking at me. I don't care. I keep dancing, and my wife doesn't care.
That's so awesome.
And that motivates me to do more, and continually improve. And every time when I go to the golf and practice, do my practices, I can get to the next level. That my goal is every week try to get better. Next time. I'm going to let him.
No. But this is what I like about what you're saying is a continual improvement. And that's what I like about golf, too, is you're playing the game more against yourself, really, than against these guys, these putzes that they somehow paired you up with. You know what I mean? It's when you get in trouble is when you start comparing yourself to other people. When you just work on yourself, work on continually improving yourself. I think some of these handicapped people that don't want to go out because the stairs bother them or whatever, I think they're comparing themselves too much to other people.
Right.
And I think if they continually try to improve themselves and question those thoughts that are keeping them homebound, I think that would be a huge, a positive message that you could share with them and say, hey, get out, man. Go dancing. Why not?
Well, if I could ask another question about your missing left hand. A series of questions, maybe. So is it right off the wrist? I mean,
right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
that's why I have this bone, the wrist bone. Yeah.
Yeah, right there. Okay.
Right. Yeah, that one.
So now I've seen you use the apparatus on the golf course to wonderful effect. Is there some apparatus that would just help you with daily life?
Oh yeah. The Workman's Comp is the one that they fit me, but they're kind of like getting really restrictive in different areas, and they fit me with the hand, that moving fingers. And holds everything what I can.
A glass of water or a bowl of cereal. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
I can do a lot of things like a normal hand, but it has limitations. I can't twist it. I can break the fingers. And I have another hook that is for tougher work, like in the mechanic or anything that I'm doing putting more force into those objects.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
But one of the things that workman's comp doesn't understand either is that as a handicapped, life is this pleasures, like swimming, basketball, or golfing.
Yeah, important.
And they need to provide us, because in their minds, we need to just keep working and doing some at home.
It's the American way. They don't value these other things as much as they should, in my opinion.
Yeah, if they provide us with those, then we are happy with those. That gives us
a fulfilling life.
Fulfilling
exactly.
life.
A quality of life.
You're right. But they don't. They are close-minded, and every year looks like they're trying to reduce.
Oh, well.
Hopefully, they're not going to take away my hand and my hook and other things. But I think their intentions are doing that. And I just speak for the others, for the rest of the handicaps, the veterans, that they are in the same place.
Yeah.
They need to be provided for what they make them happy, because that is what brings us to the society and the workforce.
Make society better.
Yeah,
overall.
Absolutely. You raise the boat of one. We all get raised up. I forget how that quote goes, but I love it. I can't think of it right now. But you help this guy out, and that raises everybody up.
The floor raises.
Yeah,
the floor of everything
exactly.
raises.
And I think a lot of times our politicians and that are just they're too influenced by money and that kind of crap. And number two is they're short-sighted. They don't have the full vision of what life's all about,
Right. Yeah. But me and Joe, you and I have covered it many times in podcasts. The for-profit healthcare, for-profit prisons, for-profit education.
Ugly. It's gross.
It is ugly. It's. Excuse me, Joe.
You're excused. So before we sat down, we were talking a bit, and you said you were an engineer by education. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah.
And you have your master's degree. So is that what you do on a daily basis for your livelihood?
No. Oh. That's another sad story.
Oh.
Well, I came in 2000, age of 36, around that age. And 2001, I lost my hand. That right after that, I thought myself that I wasn't going to be fitting into the labor force. And then I clicked automatically, go and use your brain.
Right.
And I went to Utah State University, tried to, I just went with the flow. I said, okay, what are my strengths? Math. That's a common language, universal.
Yes.
Let me start with that.
Right, yeah.
I was 3 credits at a time until 2005. I didn't have my green card was in process. And in 2005, I got a scholarship, but I had to have something from the program. I didn't because my status wasn't legal yet. And then I quit university. 6 months later, my green card comes in. And then I thought I lost my
scholarship.
I opened a business and car business, automobile repair. And that was Val's Auto Care. And ran it for a few years. Then in 2008, they called me back and said, hey, your scholarship is open. What we're doing with it, close it or keep going. And talked to my wife and my kids, and we decided I was going back.
Wow.
3 months later, I got divorced. My wife takes off.
Oh man,
brutal.
Then I kept going, kept having this dream that I can do better with my education.
Yeah.
2011, I lost the house. I asked for a modification for a year. At that time, it was Bank of America. And a day before a test, I received a mail, and they told me that they received all the paperwork for the modification. But the day after, they told me that they were selling the home.
Wow.
years
Well,
later.
that doesn't sound like something a bank would do, does it, man?
It doesn't sound like an
Yeah.
American bank at all.
No.
I'm so surprised.
Yeah, that's shocking.
Yeah. Then 3-4 years later, I received like a check for $1,500 from the Utah government, telling us that they sued these banks, Wells Fargo, and they won, and that we can pursue for lawsuit too for our losses and all that. But economy also, it was bad on me. I couldn't hire a lawyer.
Yeah.
And I kind of like I just lost it. But I kept going to school, even though that it didn't stop me.
Nice.
Wow, that's
And
huge, dude. That's amazing.
That last 2 semesters, my grades turned around, and I can see A's and B's and no more C's.
Nice.
You know.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
And well, I
You
graduated.
finished your engineering degree then.
Yeah.
Well, he's still in the process. He's still getting his
Yeah.
bachelor's right now.
Oh, gotcha.
And where are you going at this point?
Well, I'm still in. I'm still university, Utah State University.
Utah State. Okay.
Well, I graduated. I completed all my schooling, and then I did my master's degree. But now, in order to be legal, I need to take the FE test.
FE.
Yeah, FE test.
Fundamentals
and,
of Engineering?
Yes,
Something like this? Okay,
right.
gotcha.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the one I'm preparing for, because my math was very spread, and it wasn't. Some of them I forgot, and that's where when I had this struggle in my life. Then I try to apply with all these things in the workforce, and it looks like at 50, you kind of like are obsolete in the industry. And
I have these
engineering.
worries myself,
Yeah,
dude, for sure. Yeah.
And you're no longer good. Even though if I graduate, I have all my papers and everything. It's hard.
It's hard. Yeah.
And right now I'm working for Parker's, and trying to make my way up. Still, it's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the way, the mentality of the new business. It's
Yeah.
different from what you come out from school, you know? Ethics and empowerment, all this vocabulary.
Yeah.
You don't see it.
No.
You know? It's totally different. And try to change that into and benefit it's kind of like corrupting your spirit, corrupting
Oh, yeah,
yourself,
yeah.
and-
It brings you
and-
down for sure. Yeah.
And you have to change towards that, and or just keep looking. in the
Yeah.
workforce. Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's kind of the way it goes. I mean, like I was sharing my story a little bit with you before we started podcasting, and you know, I started with this company, and then before I started, they got bought by another company, and so now I'm working for this company, and they're saying everything's great, everything's great. Oh, we're making so much money, everything's great, and we're gonna sell you to this company. So now I'm working for a third company, and then I could just see the writing on the wall. The products we got in that they wanted us to manufacture were harder and harder to manufacture. No one else wanted the job because this trying to make this piece of crap. It's like, oh man. So I saw the writing on the wall. This ship's going down. We're not cranking out any products that anybody's buying. And so I jumped ship, and I luckily landed on a small business. It's just me and one other guy, and we write code. And I basically have one client. I'm technically self-employed. I'm a subcontractor, and I have one client. So I've got all my eggs in one basket, but it's worked out for 20 years. So
Wow, 20
yeah.
years now.
Give and take. I mean, there was a time in there because of health insurance. I had to find another job for a time, but but then I came back to work for him after that little stint. And so you got to keep looking. There's good businesses out there to work for, but yeah, the American way, sometimes it's pretty corrupt and pretty unethical,
It can
to say
be.
the least.
Yeah.
I
Well, I'm
think-
sure that's present in every
the
company.
global economy, how every company is competing globally, also
That's true.
makes them
That is true.
think that way. Now it's money. You know?
Always money.
Even as an employee, we just go and work for money. There's not that passion.
That's kind of true.
Yeah.
That's true. I mean, another reason why I like working for a smaller company, where it is you're more of a part of it, you have a bigger contribution. You know, when I worked for a big corporation, some guys could just hide in their cubicle, get the same money I made, you know, even though I'm out there hustling and trying to help this company crank out 56K modems back in the day.
Yep. Yeah.
But you know, when you're working for a small company, everyone's relying on everybody else to pull their own weight, and it's you get more of that passion, I believe, more of that you feel like you're contributing more, and it's a lot more
More of a
fun
team.
in my
It's
opinion.
certainly more of a team.
So maybe look for smaller companies to apply to. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I was talking to Mojo before. Mojo, right?
Mojo, thank you.
Before, probably we're going to start a small business. We'll see how it works.
That'd be a good one for the next segment. Yeah.
We're at a good pause point. We could stop here and do a chill session. I'm down with that.
The pizza pie just
Oh,
arrived.
well then
so,
let's do that. We
Great.
don't want that to get cold.
I'm going for that.
Valerio, thank you for an opening segment. Very enlightening, very inspirational. Appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for being here, Val, and I'm looking forward to the next segment.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Guys.
Thank you, listeners. So what do you think?